As a major gift fundraiser, nothing is more frustrating than a donor who won't get back to you. When we discover the reason, more often than not, it's because the donor has never been qualified by the fundraiser. In this podcast, Richard and I talk about the importance of qualifying donors, what that actually means, and how to do it. If you get this right and have only qualified donors in your caseload, your work will become so much easier and much less frustrating. Why? Because now you're working with donors who actually want to relate to you.
Welcome to the Nothing But Major Gifts podcast from Veritas Group, featuring Richard Perry and Jeff Schreifels. Twice a month, we bring you the latest and best thinking about major gift fundraising, so you can develop authentic relationships with your major donors. Here are your hosts, Richard and Jeff.
Hey everyone, this is Jeff Schreifels.
And I'm Richard Perry.
And this is Nothing But Major Gifts podcast.
Yeah, this is fun, isn't it, Jeff?
I love it.
I know, it's going to be good. And this topic is good.
Oh, it's going to be great. So we hope that whatever you're doing right now, we want to thank you for joining us. And we hope in this podcast, or all of our podcasts, that you get to take away at least something good that you can apply to your own work.
And this little something is a critical part that if you don't do this one point, which is that the whole topic is qualifying donors, it's not going to go well for you. It isn't going to go well.
When people come up to me and say, hey, what do you think is the most important thing with major gifts? Of all the stuff, I always say, it's you got to have qualified donors in your portfolio.
Well, it goes back to are we talking to the right person? I mean, I've experienced so many times in life, like for instance, when you're calling some commercial company because you have to talk to somebody, and they've passed you on to Sally, and you're talking for 6 or 7 minutes, and then you realize, oh my goodness, Sally's the wrong. Why am I talking to? Then they pass you on to Frank.
Yeah.
And you're going all around the place. I mean, anybody listening right now, I mean, you've experienced that where you're not talking to the right person. I know.
And it's frustrating.
Very frustrating.
And, we come across, we get letters, emails, calls from major gift officers all over the country, actually all over the world, who are saying, I'm so frustrated. None of my donors get back to me. I'm trying to reach out. I'm not getting anywhere with them. And so we asked the one question, well, do you have qualified donors in your caseload? And they're like,
what does that mean?
What does that mean?
Yeah.
Well, do they actually want to relate to you?
See, now, why is it that's a foreign concept? I mean, because all the thought leaders of the past in major gifts have never, ever brought this topic up. It's always like, well, if that donor meets a certain metric,
I think that's it.
And you just got to throw them on a caseload.
Yeah.
And it's like, really?
Yeah. We just make this assumption that they've given this gift, whether it's 1,000 or 5,000 cum or 10,000, whatever you would say your metric is for major gifts. Then we just, they're a major donor. And so this is why we see major gift officers who have portfolios of 300, 500.
Well, you remember the one major gift officer that had a portfolio when we first discovered it. He had 1,291 donors on the caseload. Well, first of all, that's a ridiculous number.
Yeah.
But secondly, when we actually dug into it about 2 or 3 or 4 months later, after we dug into all of those 1,291, it came down to that this major gift officer only knew 30 of them.
Yeah.
30 of them had connected to them. And in that case, that major gift officer was very, very frustrated with the thing that you said earlier. I mean, I don't just know why anybody's calling me, which is one of the major problems in major gifts. It's like, I don't like doing that major because nobody wants to talk to me. Well, because you're not talking to the right person.
Right. I mean, it's such a difference for the major gift officers that do have qualified donors. I mean, their life is so much easier because these donors want to relate to them. They're getting meetings. People respond back to them. They're getting to know them. They're spending the time on the right people.
Whole different experience.
It's a completely different experience.
Yeah, you know what? And you talk about this in the commercial or retail environment. Think about it this way: if everybody in your store, so let's say you have a store and you've got there's 80 people in there, they're not all going to become customers. They're all looking around. Some of them just sort of want to kill some time. There's all kinds of other things, but they all are not real customers. So in the commercial world, we sort of understand that. In fact, it'd be interesting to just figure out what that ratio is in the commercial side. Of everybody that comes in, I suppose there's metrics related on the direct marketing side, like in Amazon.com, that there's this many people that look, and then there's this many people that are buyers. But it's a universal truth that not everybody that looks, not everybody that takes an action is actually, quote, a buyer, which is what we're trying to say here about the qualifying thing. I mean, what's the ratio? It's
it's like 3 to 1, sometimes 4 to 1.
Yeah.
So let's just say you're starting from scratch and you have no donors in your portfolio. And if you need 150 donors for a full-time caseload,
which is what we say you need,
150. Right. You're going to need at least 450 donors that meet the metric. So let's just say it's 1,000 plus cum.
Well, and over what period of time? More recently, like 24 months.
Like the last 24 months, 1,000 cum. Take those 450 donors. You'll basically end up with 150 from that group.
Yep.
And most people don't realize 450. I mean, that means, okay, 2/3 of those donors don't want that relationship.
Well, then doesn't that mean, that also means, Jeff, that if you want to hire a major gift officer, you actually have to have a pool, what we call a caseload pool.
That's right.
450 to get down to 150. If you don't have that, then you're going to have a part-time major gift officer.
Yeah.
I've seen that situation too before, where you go in and some organization has 2 major gift officers, and you look at their portfolios and they have a whole bunch of donors on there, but they're not qualified. And if they were qualified, they wouldn't have enough to be fully functional, which means you're wasting money on labor and compensation.
I mean, when you step back, qualifying your donors is the best thing you can do as stewarding the money of your organization, right? Because you're being paid as the major gift officer to cultivate donors. And if half of your donors that are on your portfolio don't want to be cultivated,
or 2/3,
you're wasting your time.
Yeah. And you're wasting the organization's money. Plus, you're frustrated. I mean, when we discovered this whole idea years and years ago, Jeff, it was sort of an aha moment, because we said to ourselves, well, no wonder most major gift officers are not happy people.
Yeah.
It is so frustrating to try to talk to a whole like 2/3 of your portfolio that actually don't want to engage. Now, it'd be interesting to just talk a little bit about, well, why don't they want to engage?
Well, I mean, sometimes they may just want to give. They don't want anyone to come and visit them or talk to them about what's going on. They're private people. They don't want that. They don't want that relationship. Or maybe it's the person gave just that one-time gift for who knows how many different reasons. Right. And they're not going to keep giving. But if you put them on a portfolio because they gave you $10,000 and you're trying to get a hold of them and they're like, I just gave that one-time gift. So there's all kinds of reasons.
So it seems like in our experience, we've discovered that people people are different. They don't want to engage. They don't want to have that level of involvement, and they would rather just give their gifts.
That's right.
And it'd be interesting to talk too also about the communication preferences, because it's like, that's another thing. Sometimes these donors don't want to engage. Like, for instance, the old paradigm is, well, let's just try to get a face-to-face with Ralph, the donor. Well, Ralph doesn't want a face-to-face. He wants to engage on email, or he'd rather have a phone call.
And that's fine.
Whereas the old paradigm is, no, you must have it, And so part of the qualification process is trying to figure that out as well.
Well, let's talk about, how do you do this qualifying? Let's go through the steps.
Well, the first step is to have that pool, that caseload pool of people that meet the metric. So if in your organization, your metric is 1,000 cum in 1 year, by the way, we use cum instead of single gift. That's another point, because a lot of people say, well, if they give 1,000 single gift, then they meet the metric. Well, that ignores anybody that's given and anything under. If a person gave $9.99 every month, $999 every month on that metric, they wouldn't make the cut. That's a $10,000 giver.
Right.
So we say cum.
Yeah.
Cum. So that's the first step. Get
and
the caseload pool.
Doing these for so many years, that is actually a pretty good start. That's a good baseline.
1,000?
Yeah.
We think so, because there's all kinds of, that shows a level of commitment.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it does.
Well, let's talk about that too, Jeff, because it's interesting that in many universities that we've worked with, the level is 25,000.
I know.
And so, like, I remember one, which I won't mention what it is, but it's on the East Coast, where we were looking underneath that 25,000 cum level, and there are thousands of donors with major capacity that are just being ignored.
Yeah, that was the thing. So all these major gift offices are going after these higher level donors, and they have all these people under that 25,000 threshold that has had tremendous wealth and capacity and loyalty.
Right, love the university.
Looked over the years, and no one was really talking to them.
No, they were just sitting there.
And it was amazing once they did start talking to them. The results from that, people were like, "Oh, I've been waiting for someone to come talk to me. I want to do more for my university."
I know.
It was amazing.
Yeah. So that's the first point is the metric. So what is the metric for you? We suggest 1,000 cum is in the last 24 months. And regardless of what the nature of that, if they joined a membership society that you have, or a giving club or whatever, that doesn't matter. The metric is 1,000 cum.
Right.
In the last, so pick those off, and then.
All right. So you got that. Let's say you got your pool. And then from that pool, you got to determine, okay, where am I going to start to start qualifying? So you would put them in a hierarchy, a protocol that you're going to create that's going to, look at recency, total amount, total giving. You might look at wealth indicator analysis attached to that, all those kind of metrics.
So quite frankly, it's the higher value donors you're going to start talking.
You're going to start at higher value and go all the way down.
Right.
So then you got to determine, well, how much time, if I'm cultivating current donors that are qualified in your portfolio, how much time do I have allocated to actually qualify these during the course of the week? Because that will determine how many donors you can start to qualify each week. So, for example, the first thing you're going to want to do is send out an intro letter.
Right. Now, you're not going to send an intro letter to the whole qualified.
That's the thing.
Yeah, a lot of people do that.
That could be in a range of 5 to 15, maybe 20 if you have all kinds of time.
Yeah.
But now, somewhere in about 10.
Well, now the point of that whole thing that Jeff just mentioned is you cannot have, if you're sending an intro letter and then you're going to, this week, and you're going to follow up on it next week.
Exactly.
You don't have time to follow up on 450 intro letters.
No.
So which is why you've got to parse them out.
That's exactly it. Yeah. So let's say you do 10. The next week after you send the letter, you're trying to reach out to them with a phone call.
Right.
And, you're not going to get them.
Yeah.
About more than half are probably not going to answer. So you got to try again.
Right.
And there's different. So what we prescribe is at least 7 touches to try to determine whether or not they're qualified.
There's phone calls, there's emails, there's surveys. We have a whole system, which we have a white paper on.
Yeah, we're going to offer that white paper.
So we'll tell you how to get a hold of that in just a few minutes. But that spells it out in very great detail. But the point we're trying to make is this takes time. Yes. And it's got to be staged and it's sequential.
Yeah.
And the whole point is you're trying to figure out. It's almost like a puzzle. Or a mystery.
Yeah.
You're trying to look into that pool of 450 donors and figure out, well, which ones are going to come my way.
That's right.
And actually connect.
Now we should talk directly here to the CEO or the development director here. because this stage, this qualifying part, it's where most of the leadership has trouble.
And they give up. They get impatient.
They're like, well, where's the money?
Mm-hmm.
We're like, wait a minute. You don't even have qualified donors in portfolios.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to go through this process. That could take anywhere, depends on how many you have to qualify, from 3 to 8 months.
Well, we basically say just plan on it taking 8 months.
Yeah.
Because you're now we had one MGO that got it done in 4 or 5 months, but when you think about 450 and staging them through 7 steps of qualification, it is a long and tedious process. Mm-hmm. And we've got to warn you that it is long and tedious because
that's right.
But if you stay with it, you're going to break through the dark clouds into bright sunlight, and it's going to be a beautiful day for you.
It's a huge difference because the result of having those qualified donors is now donors are getting back to you. You're getting meetings. You're able to get to know their passion and interests. And that means you're going to be able to ask for bigger gifts. It's just like night and day.
It is. Well, and it's out of that kind of relationship that you figure out what the transformational gifts, because we basically say the qualification process is something every major gift officer should do in order to build a portfolio or a caseload. But then in addition to that, out of that pool of 150 qualified, you're going to find 1 or 2 donors that can give the 6, 7, 8-figure gifts that you're going to cultivate over a period of 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
And we've seen that happen numerous times.
And you're probably not going to find them if you have a list of unqualified donors. So let's just say right now you have a portfolio of 150 donors.
Qualified donors?
No, just 150.
Oh, okay.
Now, maybe only 50 are qualified.
Yeah.
So that means you've got 100 of those people taking up a bunch of your time and energy and your own human resources.
Right. More likely they're taking up your time by you doing stuff, but they're not responding.
Exactly.
Right.
And so you're not really getting to know those 50 that are qualified.
Right.
I mean, it's just a disaster.
It is. What's funny about this whole topic, Jeff, is that when you think of the logic of it, like, not everybody wants to talk to me. Now, I mean, we know that as a life principle.
Yeah.
Not everybody wants to be my friend.
Right.
I mean, it's a life principle. Not every plant's going to grow. I mean, you could apply it to anything.
Right.
Not every plane is going to be on time. I mean, this is how life is. But why is it that people can't get that? I mean, we have so many situations where we get pushback on, well, we just need, we don't have the time. We got to get this going.
Well, here's something that happens, kind of like a little dirty secret, I feel like, in major gift fundraising. A lot of times we see portfolios full of donors. They're unqualified, yet they're giving every year consistently. So, for example, I've looked at a file recently. They had a ton of donors who gave $5,000 every year. Okay.
Yeah.
And beautiful donors giving every year.
8,
God
10
bless
years.
them,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But then when you ask the major gift officer, well, why are they giving $5,000 every year? Why isn't their giving increasing? Well, I don't really talk to that. It's like that donor is always going to give that $5,000. I'm always going to expect that revenue in my caseload. When I plan for my year, I know I'm going to count on that revenue in my caseload. And so they have a bunch of donors in a caseload. The major gift officer, they don't really talk to them much. They might send them thank yous and all of that, but they're just relying on that same gift every year.
Well, some of those donors maybe belong to a giving society or a membership program.
Yeah. But they're in the portfolio because it makes the portfolio look good.
Well, do you think that's the motive?
I do for some.
Yeah, for some that's the motive. For others, it's just like a thought. The thought process. Well, they're major donors because they meet my metric.
Yeah,
and they give constantly, and so therefore they should be in my portfolio.
Yeah, but
it doesn't make sense.
But if they're a qualified donor and you know them, and you're trying to, your whole point of being a major gift officer is to get to know the passion and interests of these donors,
Right.
and relate it to all the programs and projects that you have. Why would you allow a donor to keep giving the same and leave them on your caseload?
Unless they've actually proactively said that that's what they want to do. But let's examine that a second, Jeff. So we know from experience that many of those regular donors that give 5, 10, whatever, consistently for 8 to 10 years, that if you start to get into figuring out what their passions and interests are, and you start matching those passions and interests with a project or program in your organization that really captures their attention.
Yeah.
You and I both know from experience that then there's something that's magical and mystical that happens where they just say to themselves, you know what, I've got to do more because I really want to have that thing happen.
Yeah.
And that's the part that people are missing when they just say to themselves, well, we're not going to actually do anything more with them.
Yeah.
They're actually robbing the donor of the opportunity to do something more.
So I guess the big takeaway here for all of you is to just look at, do I have qualified donors in my portfolio? Be really honest. Do you know these donors?
Yeah.
Do you know that they want that relationship? And go through your portfolio one by one and say, yep, okay, yep, I have a relationship with this one. You know what? I really don't know these donors over here.
Well, and
go through your portfolio.
So one point we missed in this whole dialogue here was, well, how do we know that they want to connect? And basically it's this: if you're going through the qualification process with these 450 donors, the ones that are talking back to you, that actually talk back and engage, even if the level of the talk back is rather superficial, but they actually engage. And you can get a sense, and it is a sense, so it's subjective. Mm-hmm. That's one that we would say, wants to engage. Now, you may have a situation where someone talks back and it says they want to engage, and then later on that they disengage.
That happens all the time.
That happens as well. But the point is you're just trying to get a response, and then it kind of starts to move in the direction of a fully qualified caseload, which is where you want to be, because you're going to be happier and so are your donors.
Yeah. Well, we want to thank you for joining us today. We hope you got something from this. And we want to offer to you a free white paper of ours all about qualifying donors. And this takes you all through the steps. It gives you great examples of how to do it.
A lot of detail.
And it'll just walk you through this because we feel it's so important for you that you to use this white paper. You can take this, and at the end of the day, you'll end up with a full qualified caseload. So we think it's important. Go to veritasgroup.com, and you go to the download tab, and you'll see the white paper on qualifying donors.
Yeah, get that, because that's going to change your life as a major gift officer. And for you that are listening, that are leaders and managers, it'll change your life too, because you'll have an understanding of how complex this is and how long it takes, which is why you need to be patient with your major gift officer.
That's
it takes
right.
time to build a qualified caseload. And all of that is going to translate into more net revenue for your program and for your organization.
Absolutely.
Which is a important destination.
Very, very important.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us on Nothing But Major Gifts. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us for the Nothing But Major Gifts podcast from Veritas Group. Richard and Jeff also write an ongoing blog that you can subscribe to for free at veritasgroup.com. Please join us again next time.